So today we're going to put together and review the Algo laser. This is going to be a fun episode and we're going to try to show you everything you need to do in order to do that yourself. Hello friends and welcome to another episode of the Urban Homestyling channel. I'm Professor DIY, behind the camera is Elpida, and Mrs. DIY is the general manager of the process. Today we're going to have a very fun episode for you. As those of you that have followed the channel are aware, we have a couple of laser printers and a couple of 3D printers, and I want to start including them in projects more and more. We've used them in the past, but not really very heavily, right? Laser engraver and cutting has become a very popular process, and we actually own a couple of laser engravers, a really tiny one and a nice 400 by 400 centimeter one. So we're going to delve a little more into the laser environment and how you as a DIYer can use it. So today we have a great episode because we have yet another printer. This is a Shenzhen Algo Technologies company printer. As you can see, it is intended to put together by you, which means some assembly is required. And when I say some assembly is required, looking at the box, I mean a lot of assembly is required.
All of it.
Now, the positive of that is that these are inexpensive compared to a fully assembly printer, right? The negative of that is that you have to assemble it and it has to be correctly, otherwise the printer will not work as advertised, right? Full disclosure, we did not pay for this printer. This printer was sent to us, but we are under no obligation to say anything positive about it. We have not given a script. As always, everything we're going to say is our opinion. So if we do not like this printer, we're going to tell you. If we like it, we're going to tell you. And we're going to make some comparisons with the printer that I know that I've used a lot. And when I say printer, I mean laser, the laser printer. So without further ado, start with an unboxing. This is going to be a very good episode. This is going to be a proper unboxing. We have not opened the box, as you see, it's still sealed as we receive it. So I really don't know what is inside. I assume we're going to need at least a screwdriver, so I have one. Sometimes they include basic tools, sometimes they do not. So we try to be as prepared as we can. And we have a nice little cutter to open the box for you. Here's the first cut. Do not go too deep. You can damage something. Remember, this contains cables and some sensitive equipment, so be gentle. Right, Elpida? We haven't done an unboxing for a long time, have we? Shenzhen Algo Technology. That is the name of the company. I hope I pronounce it correctly. If I don't, I'm going to put it on screen. All right, and here we go. First impressions.
It's nice.
It is nice and well, there's a nice
Practice
piece. There is a user manual, which we're not going to read. Okay, extruded aluminum, nice, right? Nice surfaces. Now this will take some time, so we're going to take everything out, set it on the table, and then get back with you. The packaging is very good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it was very nicely packed in here. The foam is very substantial. Everything was, like the diode, or is that what it's called? The laser itself was packed in under here, and everything packed in very, very nicely.
Nice and tight.
Yeah.
All right.
And of course, this was over everything.
Very, very impressed with the packaging, right? Mm-hmm. And here in front of me on the table is everything that was inside your package, right? So let's go through it. The manual, which contrary to my first inclination, we might have to read. A simple board that we can test the machine. The gantry comes fully assembled, which is nice. And the laser module, which is this thing, attaches here. The laser module has a nice protection for your eyes that is magnetic. Very, very nice. I really like that. The balls did not come with it. We just put the small parts into two different balls, right?
Right.
Some L brackets, some black ones and some red ones. This is all extruded aluminum and feels really good quality wise, right?
Nice and heavy, yeah.
4 legs, feet, sorry. A small screwdriver, so they provided everything that you see except for the balls was in the package, right? Mm-hmm. This, based on my experience, should be the laser distance set device. This is our power supply with the power cord, and this is probably our control unit.
Yeah, because it has all the little connections on the back end.
So
Safety glasses, very important.
And this is for the safety as well, for your safety as well. It is not a good idea to look directly at the laser. Actually, it is a horrible idea.
Do not look directly at the laser.
You will go blind instantly, not just later on, right? And even looking at the laser when it engraves, because there is a chance it will reflect back to you, right? It depends on what you're doing. Really try to avoid it without having glasses on. Now, if you're doing a lot of engraving, I would spend a few dollars to buy better quality glasses, but these are adequate, right? Especially if you are a weekend warrior
And you look really cool wearing them.
Men in Black, right, or whatever. But these are fine, especially if you always use the guard here.
Yeah.
It is not a good idea not to use the guard. And that's all we see on the box. It is now time to start assembly. And this is the manual. It seems to be of high quality, right? It is in color.
The language is nice.
It's not in English.
No, it is not.
And you can see the parts here that we have on the table.
Very nice.
Hopefully we have all the
It
parts,
came with some additional metal cards that were in here, and also the cable tie, cable management.
which are here. So the cards are for engraving, you know. Engraved business cards are becoming very common in business. And back to the manual. It looks very, very nice, I think.
Very detailed,
I think so.
clear.
So we are going to do the assembly based on the manual, and then we're going to tell you if the assembly was good or bad. And throughout the assembly, we're going to stop in various points to show you.
Okay, so off camera, we did go through and do a checklist for all the parts, sure everything present, and you'll see that on this page it shows 2 different types of laser modules, and we have this top type because it does not have, but everything else that's listed in the parts list is here and present. That's a good first step.
All
Correct.
counted.
So we put the 4 rails, which are going to be the basis of our laser, on the table here, and we're going to need 4 screws, and we're going to now attach them to each other.
And we're following the layout in the instructions because each of these rails has a specific purpose and
Orientation.
design.
So you use screws and the Allen key to put the frame together. A rather straightforward process, right? And it makes a very good and sturdy connection. So we're finished putting the frame together, and I must say I'm rather impressed with the quality so far. Ladies, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going together very nicely. The seams, the connections are very tight, which is great, and as you can tell, there is no wobble.
And you can get a sense of the tables of the size of the machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is very reasonable, I think. What do you think?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Next, what's next on the list?
We need to go to the manual.
Next is X-axis component.
Which is the gantry. The next step is to insert the gantry on the frame. And again, a very, very smooth operation, right? It slides in and it's already feeling secure, is it not?
Yeah.
You can see here how easily the gantry is inserted to the frame, and you can easily see the nice tolerance. Very smooth operation, very tight, everything you would expect. The gantry has an orientation, and that's I don't know if it's the tricky part, but the part that the laser module attaches face towards the front. And that, I mean, it can insert either way, but it's
No,
important.
It
It can insert either
okay,
way.
Yeah, so this can go in either direction, but you also want to make sure that you're orienting it so that this stop is the back of your module,
Right.
because that's where it's going to stop, and then this is what's going to come forward, and this will be your lasering area.
Absolutely. The next step is installing the brackets, which I suspect are to give the rigidity to the frame, right?
Keep it square.
And that seems to be also well designed. Would you agree?
I think so, yeah.
You just put the bracket on and then you put screws through it. Straightforward process so far. I should not make any predictions because I will be proven wrong. The brackets go very easily on, right, Elvira?
Yes.
And they have an extra screw hole there, which is where the feet attach. So far the design of this laser kit is very, very impressive. I'm going to wait until we install the belts, which tend to be the most challenging part of building a little laser like this, to make my final adjustment. But so far the build seems very straightforward, correct? Once you finish with the 4 brackets, the feet simply screw on the 3rd hole. Each bracket has 3 holes. 2 attach it to the frame, and the 3rd attach the feet to the bracket. It still feels very sturdy, right, ladies?
Oh, yeah.
And now we really have a good idea of how it looks. The next step is what they call end plates. And these are, again, I think to provide some rigidity, and also 2 of them are going to control the belt. We're going to have to insert the belt on them. I like the contrast of the ionized red to the black. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's very nice.
Very attractive with the black.
And again, so far, our assembly, everything's going together pretty seamlessly, which is nice. All the holes are machined correctly.
And we see no machining errors, right? We have not seen any sharp edges or anything that indicates an assembly problem.
So far.
Again, I'm waiting for the belt before I make my final judgment.
Now we gotta take these stickers off.
Which serve their purpose, right? To orient correctly
Definitely
everything.
making sure everything's correctly identified.
And this is interesting. It would be nice if they were coming off easier, but then again, if they were coming out very easy, they might have fall off before the assembly. So it's a catch-22.
So we have just the tool.
These plastic razors have been used in many applications, and they're great tools to not scratch surfaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is ionized aluminum, and it will scratch with a metal blade, where the plastic blade is doing the job we wanted without scratching the material. First little tip, I wouldn't even call it a mistake, but one of the labels was under this red bracket.
End plate. Mm-hmm.
And because these are going to be tensioning the belt, if you're a perfectionist like we are, this is the time to remove it and clean it, because you won't be able to do it later, right?
Right, so we just loosened it enough to clear the label.
So if that is a big deal to you, make sure that there are no labels as you tighten the machine. We didn't think of that. No big deal though, right?
Right, so you think it goes, up over here?
Oh no, under the
Below,
wheel.
below the wheel.
That will be the hard part, and it always is. Then you have to lift it over this gear.
Okay, well,
I think it will have to be on this side.
okay,
And do we have a light that we can use?
just flash.
What is it? That's an old school light. Okay, you see the teeth?
Yeah.
Okay, so the belt has to go over that and then under the other wheel. You might even need, do you have a pair of little tweezers?
Yes.
I think we'll need that.
Okay, let me go.
This is doable but awkward, but based on my experience, I will show you a much easier way to do it that is not in the manual, but is going to save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration, and you will enjoy the
So
process
we're
more.
trying to follow the instructions that are in the manual, which states for you to feed the belt through the opening that's here in this end bracket and come all the way up in the channel. You're supposed to feed it over this, under this that's got the teeth, or no, the other way.
Yeah, under the wheel.
Over the wheel.
Under the wheel.
Yeah. Under the wheel. Over the gear that's got the teeth, and then under this other wheel and come out on here.
That is not in the manual.
That is what they're suggesting in the manual,
Yeah.
but this is not working for us. So what we're going to do is bring this here and bring it over.
Start
It's
with
lifting, so don't push it down. Just push it forward and it will lift.
And so I'm grabbing that and I'm going to bring it in through opening here. And then the idea is that we bring this up here and we're going to put a screw and a wire.
You can do that now. So this is the first instance we found the manual to be lacking, right?
Yeah, it gave us an instruction which was more difficult than it needed to be.
And frankly, if I had not assembled a few of those, I wouldn't know. So that's where a little bit of experience saved us a lot of time.
Okay, so that's now secure. And I'm coming back over here where I've got this one here, the belt on top of that gear. I need to now feed this underneath the wheel.
This is very, they're very small parts, so it's a little bit delicate. We've got some tweezers to help us grab it on the other side.
Make sure you don't kink the belt.
Yeah, the belt needs to be very flat and straight, staying in
The
your
instructions do say do not twist.
Mm-hmm.
And also the belt is directional. You will see that there is ribs on one side and it is flat on the other side. You want the ribs to be down. You want to be looking at the flat one.
Mm-hmm. And so now you can see this is in the channel, and under the wheel, over the gear, under the wheel, again in the channel, through a little.
And now we can make sure that it moves. It's not impeded in any way, but it's also not too loose.
And you want actually, here's the tip, press in the middle because the belts need to have the same tension. Otherwise this will have a tendency to twist. And it looks to me like they do. Do you want to try it with your finger? It shouldn't need a lot of pressure, but it should have tension to it, right?
Yeah.
So you feel some resistance, but it's not hard.
Okay.
And do that in the whole, after we attach it. Keep the pressure here. Have one person hold the belt while the other attach. That is a step that having two people is very useful. Not every step needs that, but in this step I think it's important, right?
Yeah, it's helpful.
You need to have the right
And here you can see clearly the belt is ribbed in one side, very flat on the other. The rib side of the belt goes down, right? And now that everything is tight, use your finger again and see. It needs to be a smooth move, but you should have some resistance because the motor provides the resistance, right? It's not the wheels that resist you.
But it's smooth and I don't feel it grabbing.
Right. That's important. Look at it, and if you're using your finger and you see one side moving more than the other, then you know that the belts are not equally tensioned. And when we started for the first time, that's what we're looking. Will it want to, what this is movement called?
Wonky.
No, there is a term.
Pull. pulling to one side or the
I
other.
don't know. All right, so we'll go to the next. So the next step is assembling the bracket for the limit switch. I'll be honest, I'm impressed that this thing has limit switches for an entry-level laser, right? And what the limit switch do is prevent the device from moving outside its boundaries and protects the motors from burning. The limit switch, when you touch it, will make the motor reverse or stop depending on the software you're using. And by doing so, you're protecting the belts from breaking, you're protecting the motor from burning, and you're protecting your ears for a very loud noise that both of you ladies have heard me when I make mistakes and I bypass limit switches. That goes like, right? Did you like that?
Yeah, nice sound effects.
Hey, you know.
So I do want to ask a question. There are 2 sets of holes, and it doesn't specify which set.
That's fine where you are.
Okay.
If you put it up, you're going to lessen the...
Okay, I just wanted to check the screws all the way in.
Because you see, if you use the other one, you will be on 1, so you're going to lose a whole millimeter. Centimeter, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It wouldn't make any difference other than the size of your bed. But really, so far, it has come with everything we need, right?
Yeah.
And what Elpida is holding is the limit switch. And the limit switch is designed to make contact when the gantry hits it. And by hit, I don't mean it has to go at a high speed.
Just comes in contact with it.
Comes in contact with it. And this device has, so before you tighten it, I will use the other one so you can align it. So this device has 2 limit switches. There is another limit switch here for the x-axis, right? The gantry moves this way, what will be right and left. And of course, there is a y and an x, which people present as up and down and right to left as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
So your limit switch is there?
Yep.
So let's see, hold on. So you see the gantry will come here. You hear the switch operating? And that will stop the gantry, right?
Okay.
Excellent.
Now we're on to the laser model.
Okay.
Would similarly move this one.
The limit switch is here. Well, I was looking if there is a second limit switch.
But you can hear it click. There we go.
All right. Again, a very simple design. The laser module just slides in, and then you use a thumb screw to secure it to the lateral position. Or it uses 2 thumb screws.
Yeah, I have 2.
Okay, excellent. I would say to put the other one on this side, not on the same side.
Okay.
It doesn't have one?
Nope, there are no holes on that side.
Oh, okay.
So
Same side it is.
yeah.
So the same it is. I usually don't like that because that tends to give it a little angular momentum. All the pressure is on one side, but that's how it is correct. No, you're correct.
Yeah, it's showing both of them like positioned together in the
Tractions.
and the destructions. It's showing both of them kind of together as.
No. All that does is, but here's the thing, every time you need to change the height of the module,
You've got
so
2.
don't over tighten, at least leave one loose.
I've just got them finger tightened so
Okay.
they're not like.
Yeah, it won't fall.
And it looks like they should be easy to move it up or
Yeah, we need to bypass the air pump, but I am really pleased that it has that option, right? When you go to a bigger module, which you can buy clearly, you can attach an air pump. Now, an air pump is used when you cut, so your material will not get on fire, right? So the fact that this has a provision for it, for a DIY entry-level machine, I remain very, very pleased. The assembly of the belts, and I think for you, LP, that was the first time you assembled one. So how you feel the assembly of the belts were?
With that one little glitchy, just about how to feed them in. Otherwise,
And that is the trickiest part. In any laser you buy, the belts are the trickiest part. And this is very impressive to me. It doesn't have a belt here. It uses a stepper motor. So the movement right and left is not driven by a belt.
because is the one that you have.
Right. On Homesteading channel, we do not hide our mistakes. And I just made a mistake. This actually has a belt, but it is already installed, which is very nice actually, right? And right, we discovered that it has a belt, so we want to say it does have a belt, but you don't have anything to do with it, so that's fine, right? It's a nice little touch again for a U-assemble machine. You really require very little assemble of this thing.
Is there?
So next is the control box. Yes, ma'am.
Never mind.
Next is the control box assembly, which is a very simple box. It only has one button, which is power, and that's great. So this is not going to have some fancy systems like we have on our Orto, right? So it doesn't have a flame detection or a smoke detection. It doesn't have an alarm, which is okay because more of the time I actually deactivate them because they become more of a nuisance than anything else. And we're approaching the second tricky part of the assembly, and that's the electrical connections. We'll see how easy that is and how well documented it is. It looks like it is well documented actually because I see there is a white receiver here and I see a white plug and there is a yellow plug here and a yellow receiver on top of the module. So that seems to be well designed as well.
So we're getting ready to make all the connections here, and this one is labeled YL. We have another one that's labeled XL. So this would be the limiter switch for the Y axis. This one's the limiter switch for the X axis. And again, it's because of the way they're lining up. Makes sense. And then this is control
Y.
Y.
Which makes sense. And again, this is color coded, very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
You can break
Is there
those.
an orientation on these?
No.
Well, see.
It's okay for the thing to show.
You think so? It doesn't
I
have
know
to be
so.
fully seated?
No.
Okay.
It will never be fully seated. If we have difficulties with the switch, we'll know how to push it a little more. It's not.
Okay. There is an orientation.
It's okay, let it touch all the way down. It will be easier. Now, I want to check, does it have a orientation in the plug?
It does. Okay.
Alright.
Also has an orientation. Okay.
All right.
Putting them tight and clearly.
Don't tighten both, only one.
Okay.
All right. So what is next?
What did the instructions say?
The next step is cable management. They did provide some small zip ties.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the value of this is you do not want these small cables bending every time the gantry moves, because eventually they will fail, right? So you're securing them here. It moves, when the gantry moves, as you can see, these little cables don't move, right? Does it make sense?
Right.
And the other part, of course, is look. You can attach this if you want, here. Another small point about the manual. The manual states that you should use the little zip ties, and of course they were included, but the pictures are not very clear on how to do it. So let me tell you why you need to do that, right? This is so the small cables, you see, everywhere that we have small cables, we use a zip tie. And the idea is you do not want them flexing every time the gantry moves, because they will not last long, right? The cable will break and your machine will stop working. So you put your zip ties in a way that they do not allow these cables to flex every time the gantry moves.
Mm-hmm.
Once you do your zip ties, take the machine to its full extension to make sure that nothing hits anything, right? So we have a clear X, and we can go all the way back here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we?
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't have a limit switch. You cannot go any further.
Right.
Interesting. Okay, so we are putting the last zip tie because we found out another little problem. As we said, you need to move everything to its limits to make sure that your machine works correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we found out is that the way the picture was showing in our manual, it was actually stopping the gantry from going to its full travel.
Right. It had this cable going
Underneath the
module, the motor, sorry.
That's all right.
Coming here, and then it wouldn't go all the way to the end of its limit here.
And as you see now, it does.
So now we've repositioned it, zip tied it, and everything is moving.
And again, this really fine wire.
Right, as you see, the fine wires do not, neither this wire or this wire moves as we move the gantry, and that's what you want. And again, if you come here, it should be the same with this, right? The little wires don't move, only the big loom moves. And this loom is designed to protect the wires from kinking and breaking. So this is what you want.
Okay.
Is it plugged in? So our next step is to power the unit. And hopefully we have no flames coming.
Yeah. Let's hope for no flame. How's that?
All right, no flames so far. Let's hit the power button. I saw a little flickering thing, but I don't know if I need to hold it or not. It's alive!
You can hear those switches.
And you notice how smooth it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we did a good job. You need to hold it looks like, to power up and power down. Or it doesn't come down, I don't know.
What does the
Maybe
instructions
we need to read
say?
the directions.
Don't leave it unattended. Not advised for individuals with photosensitivity.
Move the gantry to the furthest position that it can go from home, right? Home is the first left corner, the bottom left corner. We're going to turn it on again to make sure that we have no kinks or anything. Because once you turn it on, it is designed to home. And that ensures that your limit switch works and also that you have a smooth movement. And as you notice, there was a very, very smooth move, right? Before we use software, ladies, what are your impressions of the assembly process, the quality of the machine?
It only took us, maybe 40?
I think so. The
And
quality
it was
is
very
great.
straightforward. The pieces went together very well, just as intended.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was included, nothing missing.
Right.
Now, there are some labels here that talk about danger, and it is important to follow them, especially since this machine does not have a fire detection system, right? Don't leave this ever alone. Our order has, on occasion, alerted us of smoke, never of fire really, we never cut anything on fire. But if you're working with wood, you can potentially set it on fire, especially if you're cutting it, not just engraving it, right? When you're working with metal like aluminum, like these cards, it is not likely that you're going to set anything on fire. Now, Alpida is going to be using this machine, so my recommendation is to maybe go to the store and buy a piece of aluminum or something to put on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So if for some reason something goes off whack, you do not burn through the table. Again, the laser can burn through much anything. So our next step is to use the computer and do a print. There are some high-end lasers that you can put a CD card in and print directly from the laser. We don't have one, and this is not one of them. This is a fairly simple, and I'm not knocking it down. Actually, I'm very impressed with this. What do you think, Elpida?
Yeah, me too.
But the vast majority of the lasers, 90% of them, will not come with software. You will have to download the software yourself. And the ones we do, most people do not use because it's very limiting. It's just not good software. There are two major programs that you can use. One of them is free and the other is paid. We have both of those programs. The free one is called GRBL and only works for Windows. The paid program is called Lightburn and it works for Mac and Windows and Linux. So Lightburn has a 30-day free trial, which means you can try it and then buy it, but after 30 days becomes inoperable. Unless you buy it. GRBL, however, does not expire.
Okay. And just to clarify a statement you made a bit ago where you said something about being limited, referring to was if a laser comes with software, that is what can be limited.
Right, the software is usually not high-end. Okay. Both GRBL and Lightburn are higher level software, if that makes sense.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify what we were talking about.
Right. So next we're going to figure out the settings, and we're going to do our first burn. It's probably still too fast. It's a very, very nice beam there. I think it's doing something.
It is, just smell it.
First, print, engraving, whatever you want to call it. And hopefully we're not going through the machine.
Through the wood? Yeah, that's how.
Well, we need to refinish this table anyway, right?
Definitely got a lot of aroma going.
It is quite fast. Again, I'm very impressed with the speed of this little machine. Now for this we're using GRBL, and you see GRBL tells you where you are. See how it turns green? So for a free program it's pretty good. You need to spend a little time to learn it, right? Mm-hmm. It is reasonably intuitive. That's why actually Elpida has already a human extractor. It's a good idea to use it. For this first one we're not using it. We're in an open space. No?
Filling it up pretty quick.
And I think we're too high of power.
And that's
again,
even with my fan going.
This is the first print, so I was unprepared. This is more power than I thought, especially for the speed. I thought, wow, this is really impressive. Didn't expect it to be that. I'm impressed with that laser.
Okay, we're going to come back and show you when it's finished. All right, due to the fumes coming off of our laser here, we went ahead and installed the extractor. Just put it in front. Again, the airflow comes this way, and there's filters here. Comes with additional filters, which is very nice. This is not part of the laser package, but it's something that I purchased separately because of this exact thing. And we also want to talk about the glasses, which you said they have to be a specific color because of the color of the laser.
Right, they match the frequency of the laser.
Okay, so let's see. There we go.
So since we're doing that, let's talk a little bit. Since this is the first laser you assembled, you have seen me using lasers and other devices that need assembly, but you have not participated before.
Right.
So give us a grade from 0 to 10. Would you recommend this?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially for a beginner one. The only thing that was not the best in terms of direction was, again, the belts, installing the belts, and we found a way to install them that was easier just because of how fine they are. And then the second piece was just how they were telling us to attach the wires with those cable management with the cable ties. That wasn't especially clear, and based on your experience, you were able to direct a little bit better so that we made sure that those finer cables are not being stressed in any way.
Understanding the purpose, which is
right.
That's why you attach them.
Right, again, so we've got this attachment point. That means this is not going to wobble back and forth and put stress on these little wires. Likewise over here.
And you see as it's moving, it puts no stress on the wire.
Right.
Nothing moves.
So they're not moving. And what you had said was basically if you don't attach those, they'll basically wear out in like a week or, you know, pretty quickly, depending on the use of your laser.
Yeah, a month, not a week.
Right.
And actually, I am impressed on the power of this thing.
Yeah, this is doing really well for our first attempt here. It's much more powerful than you were anticipating.
And if anything, I put too low of a speed and too much of a power on the laser.
Right, which essentially means that the laser is staying too long in one spot, which is why we're getting more burn than etch. And so again, that's, I mean, it still looks nice.
When you look at it, it doesn't stay too long on anything, but...
Right, but we can smell it from that burn. And then, so that's part of our experimentation here with the new laser is learning the finites,
settings, yeah.
Right,
And
learning to dial it in.
Once you have a baseline, then you go from there, right?
And also keeping in mind different materials will also burn differently.
Absolutely. And we're not going to cut today because we do not have something to protect the table, and that seems powerful enough to me that it will go through to the table.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't want to do that.
It is, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, the laser beam is so well defined. I don't know if it is visible.
There's a pretty nice point that's showing on camera.
Not just the point, the laser beam from the lens to the point. It is extremely well
I don't know how
defined.
well they can see that, but oh yeah. Okay, very good.
And look how fast, I mean, when we want to talk about, look how fast it processes information.
Yeah.
You know?
And again, you can see on screen, this particular program shows you where you are in the process and it's going green when it's finished, so that helps you visualize how much more you have to go.
And frankly, we thought that was a simple burn, it isn't. This is much more complex. You shouldn't use something this complex as your first burn.
Yeah, but it's still doing a good job.
It's doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
So we finished our first burn, and as burns go, this was very successful. Again, your first burn will not be your best work because you do not know the specifics for this laser. We didn't know the specifics for this laser. But clearly, as you can see, this is not a bad burn at all. We were going a little too slow, and I started what I thought was conservative, 1,000 per second. And I started at 95%, which was clearly too hot. But regardless, this is actually almost usable, right?
Yeah.
You might even keep it, right?
Oh, yeah.
First burn, you know,
and then we do need to like blow it out or something because there's probably particles that are making this look a little bit darker than the final product. But what we also wanted to do was call attention to another project that we did a while back, and maybe you can put the card up in our video. We were burning coasters here, and this is the same dragonfly, and this is just different wood and different intensity, obviously a different laser as well, but just to make a comparison to show you how changing the settings can affect the outcome of your project as well.
Now for a 5-watt laser, this is impressive so far to me. And I can imagine Elpida not too long from now will procure the 10-watt with the air assist, you know. I don't know how long it will take before that, you know.
How much is this 10-watt one?
I don't know, but I mean, based on the price of the laser, it should not be very far. Again, a reminder, we did not pay for this laser.
Right.
We're just reviewing it. But I can tell you, compared to lasers that cost $400-500, the size of the bed is not huge, but it is not small by any stretch. Most people do not need something bigger than this.
Right, if you're gonna do hobbyist type things, this is a large enough bed for you to do, and most projects, unless you're making like really large something or another's, then, you know, I think this is more than adequate.
My order is bigger, but frankly, we have never used it to its, I don't think you will ever use it in full.
To the full capacity, no.
So,
never have.
I mean, sometimes we get overexcited about the dimension of something. I think this is a perfect dimension, to be honest. You can do large projects, you can do small projects. We found out that the thumb screws work very well. The travel distance of the module, it's more than adequate. And if you want to improve the height, that would be easy. You just put blocks under the feet and you're done.
Right.
Actually, my order is much more expensive, and I like features of this much more. Especially the legs. You remember Marjorie has those weird
Yeah.
legs? It is fast, it's efficient, I like it. Elpida, do you like everything about it? What do you don't like it about it? Let's give our viewers a review.
As an overall, I really liked everything about it. I've already called out just a couple of things as far as assembly that were a little bit questionable, but again, just based off of your experience, you were able to find a solution for that. But so far, the laser seems to work very, very well. For me, now it's going to be a learning curve to learn the software and figure that out.
The software is the most difficult part to learn. And then start creating a collection of things to burn and start getting a feel of how long something will take to burn in a dimension you want it. The software tells you, but still when you decide of something, it's like, this I totally underestimated the detail. This has much more detail than I was thinking.
Yeah, look at those wings. They have a lot of detail in there. So that's what took the majority of
Correct.
the time here. And for us, this was a 26-minute burn for that.
Which is actually a very good time. And really, 26 divided by 2, because I will double the speed, it will be an excellent speed.
So is that the plan, is to
I think that's
try
the
another
plan.
burn at double the speed and a slightly lower intensity?
Correct. And I will probably leave it in that speed if we want to test this, which is again anodized aluminum cards.
Okay.
So friends, this is our review. First burn, first impressions, everything in one. Unboxing of the Algo laser, which again, for full transparency, we were sent for free, but we're not given any direction on anything we need to say, other of course the name, which is a reasonable request. And frankly, having used many lasers and many 3D printers, this really, if we were not recording, it would have taken 20 minutes to assemble.
Right.
With recording, it took I think around 40, but we had to change angles and do things and make things just right.
And that's the case for all of our projects.
Right.
Recording definitely extends the time.
I don't think it's going to be more than 20.
Right.
I am very impressed with the laser module. The protection, the eye protection in the bottom with the magnets is amazing. Very easy to set the laser distance. And when you change it, you can keep 2 modules easily, because this is much easier than my order to change.
The way it slides up and you're just good.
Right, and then you just take one connection off and you're done, right? So let's give it some grade. Assembly, I will give it an 8, only because the manual missed 2 points. The first point was the easiest way to attach the belt. And the second point was why and how to attach with the little straps, the zip ties, the cable, right? Once you understand, and I think I saw that with you, the moment I told you why we're attaching them, you immediately knew how to do it, right? But saying just attach them, you were just looking, it's like, okay, you need some guidance there, right?
And the pictures weren't super clear on that either. They were pretty dark. Yeah.
That's why I consider those 2 things are missing, right?
And by attach the belt, what you really mean is the part where we thread it through here.
Right.
Because attachment points were easy. It was the threading and making sure you get that correct.
Because the way it said it might take you half an hour per belt.
Yeah.
Trying to thread it through, right? And again, that was experience. I've thread many belts in the past, and I knew that we can do it faster. So 8, do you agree for assembly?
Yeah.
Material and workmanship, 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
Look, I love it. I love the red and the black. Very, very well designed. So that is 10 out of 10 for me. For you? Quality of first print, I will go 10 out of 10. The burn is not my fault. It is not the laser, right? And really, it's not one's fault. With every laser, the first few prints will be not usable if you plan to sell them or use them, you know.
Right, because it's your learning.
And there were scraps of wood. Now I'm going to have to watch my scraps, because I think Elpida will be living with sopping every time she visits the homestead, right?
Yeah.
I will say, let's throw it away, and say, oh wait, man, that might be a good...
When do you ever say throw it away? I'm just going to call you out. Come on.
I don't, that is true. Now, what you can burn with this, clearly you can best anodized aluminum. You know, this aluminum paint black, very similar to the red pieces on the machine. You can etch those, clearly wood, plastic, and we found out that it can cut very nicely, even mine, but definitely this one, the foam.
Okay.
Remember how
like
nicely?
The foam sheets, yeah.
And you can make test beds, right? If you make things that are interlock or something, you can use that. It will do this in maybe 3 seconds. Especially this one with the settings. Probably need to be at 10% and 5,000.
Okay.
You know? Don't you think you will have fun playing with it? I mean, let's look at the entertainment value. And DIY, I can already think of 5 things that you can do around the house that can help you.
Yeah, we've got some projects in mind.
Again, a couple of points. If you plan to cut, definitely protect your surface underneath it, right? And while they make combs that you can use, honeycomb, they are expensive, and I don't think they're necessary. You can go to any store and buy a piece of, what do you call it? Even if aluminum foil will do it, or over wood, you know? Because anything reflective, this laser will not cut through a clear plastic, but it will cut and engrave non-clear plastics.
Okay.
And in fact, I want to show you something that I have done. Can you show that? It's upside down, but
Yeah.
I have too many of those little
Power bricks.
power bricks, and by writing the brand, because they usually are not descript, you can use it to engrave things so easily, right?
Right, and so that makes sure that you're pairing it with the correct computer.
Absolutely. So there, as you're using it, I'm sure you will find a lot of things to do with it. So overall, do you think an overall score of 9.5 out of 10 is fair?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And really, it will be 10 out of 10 other than a couple of misses on the manual for assembly.
Yeah.
But even with those, the first time assembly, one person can do it. So this is the end of our episode. We're very impressed with the machine. The only things you will need external will be a computer to use the software. And we did not use the iPhone application, but it comes with an app. At some point we'll use it, and maybe that's a Wednesday quickie to show you how that works.
Right.
But for today, we wanted to make sure the machine works and what its capability. We're very impressed with it.
And then just for your lung health.
Right, and we've set it by a window here, and you can put those windows exhaust fans if you're doing something. Plastics are carcinogenic, right? When you burn them, they will really generate bad stuff.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful with that. Other than that, the software uses laser GRBL, and we had no difficulty for the machine being identified, etc. For reference, it is COM6. I assume it's COM6 for most of those machines.
Okay.
And if it is not, you just go through the COM ports until you recognize it, and that's all there is to it. From Professor DIY and Elpida, let's fix something.